When Deb and I decided that we wanted to buy a new vehicle, we knew that it had to be a Gladiator. We also knew that it had to come from Dan Cummins, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. We wanted to make sure that we had that warranty for the longevity of the vehicle, and we also knew exactly how we wanted to build it. The Dan Cummins Auto Group is not just a sponsor for us. They're like family. This is where we have bought the majority of our previous vehicles, even before our sponsorship. We ordered our black Mojave, and in just about 6 weeks, it came in and we picked it up. We drove it for a little bit in stock form until they could get all the parts in for our build. We picked the Mojave because of its reinforced frame, its cast iron steering knuckles, its better seating, even better than the Rubicon. While it didn't have a front locker, we didn't really use the front locker much at all in the orange Jeep either. We just felt like the Mojave trim would fit our style a lot better than any of the other trims. And to be perfectly honest, one of the other big deciding factors was Deb likes orange a whole lot better than she likes red.
Not red.
While we were waiting for the suspension components, we went ahead and added an RSI smart cap, complete with drawer slides. Once the folks at Dan Cummins got all the parts in that we needed, it was time for it to go under the knife for its transformation from just a stock Mojave to a true off-road ready truck. In just over 2 years, we've put a little over 80,000 miles on this Mojave, and it has taken us to nearly all 4 corners of the United States and many places in between. From the initial build, not much has changed when it comes to the tires, wheels, or suspension. On the lift, we chose the Clayton Overland Plus 3.5 lift with the HD rear springs. And if I had to do this all over again, it would be the exact same lift. When it comes to the shocks, I never realized just how much that I would appreciate and enjoy the ride of an adjustable remote reservoir shock. We chose the Fox 2.5 DSCs, and I would do that choice also all over again. We've been running the Cooper STT Pro tires in a 37 by 1350 by 17 on this truck and on our previous Wrangler for several years. We have never had a tire failure. We've never had them wear bad or wear funny or feather or anything like that. And that's the same kind of tires that we'll probably always use unless something comes along that just really changes my mind. We typically get about 40,000 miles out of a set of these tires. Now I know that you could probably get a little more mileage out of some other tires, but the service and durability that these tires have given me, I'm willing to change them at 40,000. We've been running the Dirty Life wheels, and they've done good for us so far. We did have one that had a spoke that cracked. Once we got a hold of the guys at Commonwealth, they were able to get a hold of Dirty Life, and they replaced the wheel with no issues. Since the Mojave doesn't come with electronic sway bar disconnects, we had to choose a method in which to do that. We went with the Apex Auto Links quick disconnects. Now they're a vast improvement over the other ones that you have to put the pins in. They're really easy to use and they work great. All it takes is a quarter turn to either connect them or disconnect them. The only problem that we've had with them is the metal is pretty soft on the collar that locks them into place. The jam nut that holds the adjustment in place had backed off on the passenger side of ours, and we were not able to break it back loose to be able to set it back in the tightened and locked position. Over time, this little bit of movement continued to cause fatigue on the Autolink, and it ultimately, at just under 80,000 miles, broke in half. Now, had I been able to get the jam nut back up where it belonged, or had I sent these in a little bit earlier to have that replaced, I feel pretty confident that they would still be going strong today. But the soft metal that the jam nut is made out of is what ultimately caused the problem. We changed the steering out pretty early, as we knew that with the 37s and the stuff that we were going to be going over, we needed a little bit stronger set of steering components. We initially went with Apex chassis and their aluminum steering linkage kit. Well, this kit looked very robust and good. The problem we had was in a very short time, we ended up with all of the end links becoming loose and a huge amount of play in the whole system. We consulted Apex Chassis about these problems, and they said that they could replace them, but it would end up doing the same thing in just a short time again. After a lot of research, we landed on Steer Smarts. Not only are they very beefy products, they're also designed and forged in good old Detroit, Michigan. We again looked to the guys from Commonwealth 4x4 to get all of these components changed up for us, and we really didn't have any idea just how bad our steering was until we had got the Steer Smarts put on. As far as other components, the engine is still bone stock, and so is the transmission. Even the gears are factory 4:10 ratio. While it's true the 14 gears are not optimal for the 37s and the weight that we were carrying, but it still worked out just fine. Our mileage wasn't completely terrible. It was actually still better than the orange JK. And while we didn't see the upper gears very often, the transmission, engine, and everything just seemed to work good together the way it was. As you know, about a year ago, we struck up a partnership with XGRID Campers, and we have been pulling adventure campers on our trips ever since. In that time frame, we've pulled a trailer about 30,000 miles. Now, this 30,000 miles, a good part of it was on road, but also a large portion of it was off-road as well. So what did we find in this last 30,000 miles? We know that in the first 50, everything worked great. While the gears were not optimum, they still did just fine. But what I did find over the last 30,000 miles is we could use a little bit deeper gear. The first big thing that makes me think we need a little bit deeper gears is the gas mileage. Now, when we pull, we're averaging, depending on how fast we're pushing it or where we're going, between 8 and 10 miles to a gallon while we're towing a trailer. That's opposed to our 11 to 13 that we get while we're empty. With the factory 14 gears that we have in it now, we normally only see 6th and 7th gear, and we never see 8th gear while we're not towing. When you do have a trailer on, you're normally in 5th to 6th gear, and occasionally we'll only see 7th gear. That's another reason that we're going to change to 513s. By adding the 513s, it also adds the mechanical advantage and gives the transmission and engine a little bit of a break, and they don't have to work near as hard either. And then when it comes to off-road, it's definitely going to get our crawl ratio down a little bit more. Not that we do a whole lot of rock crawling, but it will help get that a little bit lower anyway. We built this truck 2 years ago with the intent of overlanding it, and we built it just for our needs. It has worked out perfect for us, and with 80,000 miles and just as many memories, it's been the perfect overlanding rig for us. We have decided to upgrade the gears to make it a little bit more responsive, but other than that, we wouldn't change a thing. As a matter of fact, Deb and I have discussed it, and if something ever happens to this Gladiator, we would buy another Gladiator and build it just the same way that this one is. Well, this setup and what we've done to it may be not perfect for everybody, but this setup is definitely perfect for us. We sure appreciate you watching, and thank you for taking the time to listen to what we had to say about our first 80,000 miles in this Gladiator. Until next time, see ya.